Reinbach, and he's an architect. Will you please tell us a little bit about your job and what do you do?
Right now I work on mostly designing schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. We do a variety of projects, but a lot of it includes working hands-on with our client, creating drawings, developing new ideas for them. It's a pretty wide variety of things we do.
How long have you been here with the company?
I've been here for about 3 months, but I've actually been working in the industry for about 10 years.
Okay. What's the one thing that most surprised you when you first started working in architecture?
In architecture, probably the first thing that surprised me was the amount of collaboration that happens. We work with clients one-on-one. We work with our coworkers one-on-one. We're always working in teams. We're always very collaborative. It's a lot less of the individual efforts that we did in college. So it's a lot of teamwork, and it's a lot of patience and cooperation with everybody.
What are some things you look at for a potential employer?
The first thing I look at from a potential employer is just how much fun I envision myself having working for them, how much I see myself enjoying working for that employer. And the second is the quality of the work they do, the quality of their design, how well they work with clients, and how that will reflect on my career too. And as well as how I can contribute to what they do. Do we have the same vision? Do we have the same goals? Is it a good fit?
Are graduate degrees important to advancing within your organization, and which ones?
I think the more education, the better. Graduate degrees can be very helpful. It just takes you to that next level of problem solving and thought process. I think it's good. I think undergrad is good as well. I mean, it's helpful. The more education you have, the better.
What kind of entry-level positions, or do you guys have internships here?
We do have internship programs. You kind of jump in head first, regardless of whether you're an intern or not. But they do have continuing education programs for us. And in architecture, you're constantly learning. There's new things every day. So the education is kind of throughout your career. It's not just when you're an intern. So they do encourage helping teach others that have come in a few years after you and spreading that knowledge kind of down the line.
Okay. And for a fun fact, what was your first job?
My first job was at the Sedgwick County Zoo in Wichita. I dressed as a bear for kids' birthday parties. And it was fun, except in July, when it was about 100 degrees, but yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Joe Reinbach.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Tapia, and we are here with Dr. Stevens. Hello, doctor. Will you tell us a little bit about your occupation and how long you've been with the hospital?
Okay, good. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Shervette Stevens, and I'm currently a practicing pediatrician in one of our public hospitals in Nassau, Bahamas. Currently, I graduated medical school in 2013, and I am now a first-year resident in the pediatric department. So I've roughly been practicing for about going on 3 years now. Yeah.
Do you guys have any internships available for students, and tell us a little bit about them?
When it comes to internship programs in our hospital, normally we have, after a medical student would have graduated from and passed their medical boards, we normally have an internship year that will last for like 1 year. They will go through periods of 3 months where they take 3 months in pediatrics, 3 months in adult medicine. They'll have 3 months in the obstetrics and gynecology department and 3 months in surgery. And after the completion of that full year, doing those 4 different rotations, then they would actually graduate and actually become a full-fledged physician. But we do have exchange programs that we also offer back at home. So if a medical student is interested in our teaching hospital at home, they will actually have to contact the University of the West Indies, which my medical school is affiliated with. And once there is interest, then they'll just have to fill out the application form to become an exchange medical student and observe for a few months to a few weeks' time.
Okay. And what are some of the characteristics of the most successful interns?
Most successful interns, I would say, are those physicians who realize that they can't do it for themselves, realizing that teamwork is number one. Those interns who actually have good communication skills, who are reliable. What we find that if we have a patient whose blood results is very important and vital to follow up on, if we cannot trust an intern to actually follow those up on a timely fashion, that is actually a downfall for them. So we need them also, besides to being reliable, they also actually have to be, have academic knowledge as well, and have the yearning and initiative to take moves, but also be willing to learn. They also have to be able to recognize their limitations and ask for help and not take chances, because at the end of the day, no matter which medical school you go to, you always want a safe physician, meaning to do no harm to that patient. Yeah.
And what are some of the main things you guys look at the interns that go into the hospital?
Some of the main things we look for. First of all, you actually have to pass your medical board exam. You can't just come and say you want to be an intern and you haven't passed that. So that's number one what we look at. Number two is that can you actually get the work done? The task is very tedious, is actually very stressful. So we look at for interns who actually have good time management skills. We will look for interns who also, besides the time management skills, who actually have, like I said, having the initiative to want to learn or want to try new things. Because if you don't have that initiative, our senior doctors, the days are actually very busy. So it's kind of difficult to stop and try and teach, especially if you see a physician who's sitting, in the corner not having any interest. But if you have interest, we like that. So we're going to teach you more, we're going to show you more, we're going to allow you to try to do more things. Yes.
Okay. What's been your favorite part as being a doctor?
My favorite part, too many memories, but my most favorite part of being a doctor is actually when I get the thanks from patients. It's something that you never look for to receive from them, but when you do something and somebody recognizes it, or when you have to tell a parent that their child may have passed away, and when that parent in their grief can tell you, thank you, I know that you've done all, that is the most rewarding experience I get on a daily basis, and I love that. Yeah, just that feeling that they recognize the effort that you've placed in, even though their relative may have passed away, but they recognize that your effort and your desire to want to do more for them. Yeah.
Do you have any tips or recommendations you would want to give students that are interested in nursing?
Actually, yes. In order for you have to have the academics, but what is best for you is actually, one, if you want to become a nurse, you want to become a doctor, whatever you choose in the medical profession, first of all, make sure that you're doing it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're able to encourage yourself, you're able to push yourself, because there are many sleepless nights, there are many sacrifices that you have to make. But the only thing that allows you to obtain and achieve your goals is you having the driving force that you want to accomplish this for yourself. It's nice that when you have your family supporting you and your friends supporting you, but in those down times when you're tired of studying for hours, or when you can't go out to the clubs or to the movies with your friends, at the end of the day, you know that you wanted to do this for a particular reason, and you have to be able to achieve and obtain your goals and be able to encourage yourself.
Okay. And for a fun fact question, what was your first job?
Really? My first job I was actually a sales assistant in a children's store at home. Okay. But I always would tell them that I wanted to be a doctor. So.
Since when did you know you wanted to be a doctor?
Oh, I knew from when I was 4. I knew. I always knew I wanted to be a doctor. Okay. So there was nothing that. It's a dream come true now. Yeah, it really is. There's nothing that I wanted to do. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, even though I may have days when I may get tired or frustrated, or why am I doing this? it always goes back to I chose this profession for myself, so I want it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Stevens.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Dolan McNabb here with Valerie Collazo. Valerie, what is it that you do?
I'm a supplier diversity manager for Kansas City Power and Light, and my job is to work with bringing in minorities, veteran-owned, HUB-zone, 8A companies to do business with us.
Okay. Do you offer any internships at your company?
We do. Every summer we have internships. They last from May until August.
And when interns come in, are they usually prepared for this job?
Some interns are and some interns aren't. I've had interns as young as 14 years old from Cristo Ray School, and then I've had interns that are in their 20s.
All right. And what would you suggest for the interns coming in to prepare?
To prepare, I would say you have to be able to speak on the phone. You have to have a good communication skills. So because my job encompasses a lot of talking to other suppliers on the phone, reaching out to them. So you have to have good communication skills. Good written skills are a must because they have to communicate all the time through email to my suppliers and make sure that they're clear and concise when they do. The other thing I would suggest is to be open to learning everything you can about the company, investigating the company before you come, go to their website, find out as much about the company as you can, because for our company, we're a utility company, we're kind of unique. A lot of people don't know what we do. And so it's good for the intern to go online and read about the company and find out in advance what we do.
So college preparedness kind of helps out with that a lot, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. A business degree is good if you're going into business. We have a lot of engineers at our company. So our company is kind of unique because you can go anywhere from being an admin in the company to being an engineer in the company, accounting, finance. So we have a lot of different opportunities. My job's a little unique since I work with suppliers.
All right. What are some of the most notable qualities of your most successful employees?
Outgoing. With my job, you have to be. You meet a lot of people in the community. We attend a lot of events, so they have to be outgoing. They have to have good communication skills. They need to be able to turn on a dime. I need somebody who can drop one task and start another task.
Kind of go with the flow?
Go with the flow. My job is very sporadic, so I'm working on one project, but then another project comes up and we have to move to that project right away. So they have to be able to be multitask.
All right. In your own personal opinion, what does it mean to be college and career ready?
College and career ready, I see someone coming into KCP&L who's college and career ready, who's gone through, at least in high school, taking some college classes. We have a lot of students, I get a lot of students who are just in high school that come to work for me. So taking some college classes helps them to start being career ready and college ready. I think knowing kind of a little bit about what you want to do, investigating jobs out there, going to different companies, shadowing other people that do the jobs to see if that's something you really want to do. You have to have the passion for what you do, because if you don't, you're never going to love your job.
Right.
And I love my job.
Now, as one last fun fact question, what was your very first job that you had?
My very first job was I was a car hop at A&W Root Beer.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And I used roller skates.
You roller skate around? All right. Well, thank you, Valerie, for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kylie Cameron, and I'm here with Shane Cuevas from the National Bank of Kansas City, who is a loan officer here. Can you explain what you do with your job and how many years you've been here?
Sure, Kylie. What I do is I'm a loan officer. I offer home loans all over the country. We do loans in all 50 states. I've been with National Bank of Kansas City for 11 years.
Let's see. And then what's one thing that surprised you about this company when you first started working here?
I think what really surprised me was the small bank atmosphere for what we do, because we do loans all over the country. We're talking to people everywhere, every day of the week, and but it's a family-owned business, and it's very homey. It's just really nice, comfortable place to be working at.
Awesome. And then what are some characteristics of your most successful employees here?
I think the most successful employees need to be outgoing. They need to be assertive, but they also need to be confident of themselves.
Awesome. And then here, are graduate degrees important to advancing within your organization?
Not necessarily as a requirement. There are a lot of people that are successful that don't have graduate degrees, but I would tell you that most of the successful ones do have graduate degrees.
So what kind of graduate degrees would they have?
Well, and most of them, when I say graduate, they're undergraduate degrees, but
Okay.
they're college degrees. Most people don't have anything above a 4-year degree at college.
Okay. Which courses or experience do you suggest to be a successful candidate here?
Well, and keep in mind, for a loan officer,
Mhm.
I think anything in finance would be successful, would be helpful. There's a lot of different positions within the bank outside of being a loan officer that would maybe have some other benefits in having some other degrees, but finance is really a strong one for most of the positions in the bank.
Awesome. And then do you guys offer any entry-level positions or internships here?
I'm not aware of any internships that we have, but entry-level positions, absolutely.
What kind of entry-level positions?
For example, we have a position that was called a junior LO loan officer. Forgive the acronyms, but the junior loan officer. And that is a person that assists the loan officers in doing paperwork and getting things from customers. But then they have the opportunity to move up to become a loan officer through that position. There's also processor positions that they actually process the loan. And from those positions, you have the ability to move to maybe an underwriter, which is another step up for those positions.
Awesome. Thank you, Shane.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Kylie Cameron, and I'm here interviewing Dr. Ed Strike here, who is the Associate Superintendent of the Shawnee Mission School District. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you've been here?
Yes, I'm starting my 3rd year in the Shawnee Mission School District, and I have the privilege of working with a dedicated team that tries to ensure that curriculum instruction and assessment practices within the district help to prepare students for that college and career ready standards that we've all talked about.
Awesome. So what is one thing that surprised you most about working here in the district?
One of the first things I noticed was the diversity between high schools. One of the largest surprises, I guess, was that we have specific programs at each high school, and there doesn't seem to be a universal standard across the district, and I thought that was kind of surprising for a district of this size.
So then what does it mean to be college and career ready?
That's a great question. As a student, I'd almost turn that around and ask you, but in my humble opinion, college and career ready, the key piece is to understand that it provides a rigorous opportunity for students to be engaged in their own learning. It's no longer acceptable just to prepare for students to go to college. The research is actually showing that during the last Great Recession, the greatest recession of our lifetime, there were a lot of jobs available in the STEM field, but there was a mismatch between the candidates' background skills and the jobs that were necessary. And ironically, college and career ready, we're finding that career ready actually has higher entrance requirements than just going to college and taking a freshman level composition class, for example. So the career field actually has some of the higher expectations right now when you graduate from high school to be able to enter into some of those apprenticeship programs.
Awesome. And then what do you have to do in order to be college and career ready?
I think the biggest thing is you need to take a rigorous academic preparation where it's not a mile wide and an inch deep. It's where students are engaged in active thinking and learning, and they're applying knowledge. The old recall information, that's pretty well gone, because in the life of Google, all you have to do is ask the question and it'll tell you the answer. The key is, how do you use that information to apply it to a real world setting? And you've probably heard of rigor and relevance. How do you make it relevant to student learning? Because the real world is all about learning new information and applying that information.
So then what are some characteristics of your most successful employees here?
I think the growth mindset, for lack of a better term. I don't know if you've heard the idea of fixed mindset versus growth mindset. When you figure that if a student goes to college, half of what they will learn in a 4-year program will be outdated by the time they graduate.
Yeah.
We're experiencing such a technology or an information acceleration within our time period in our life that we have to help students be engaged in learning. So it's really important that the employees of the Shawnee Mission School District embrace a growth mindset, that we're open to learn and grow continuously throughout our educational career.
Let's see. And then what kind of graduate degrees are important in advancing in this organization?
Well, I think one of the things that's really critical is, to be an effective teacher, you need to have a degree within your content area. So it requires a bachelor's degree. And then if you're wanting to continue to advance, be it in counseling, you're going to have at least a master's degree, or you're going to have a specialist or an advanced degree. To be a school administrator, you're going to need to have an advanced degree, usually a graduate, a master's and or doctorate, depending on the requirements of the position. But the key is lifelong growth. It's more important to have a degree that means something and propels your career forward, as opposed to just having an advanced standing degree.
I see. And then which courses or experiences do you suggest in order to grow within this organization?
This is going to sound really crazy. As a teacher, I think it's really important that teachers remember what it's like to be a student. I think it's real important for a principal to remember what it's like to be a teacher and a student. And then I think for a central office administrator, it involves what it's like to be a principal, what it's like to be a teacher, and what it's like to be a student, because we need to be advocates for students as well.
Awesome. And then what kind of entry-level positions do you get here? What kind of internships can be offered?
Well, think back. I think as a high school student, you probably had a few student teachers in your career.
Of course, yeah.
So as an educator, it basically starts with that, with the student teaching experience, usually their senior year, and that prepares them for the real world of being a teacher within their classroom their first year. And that helps to build towards, if you want to be an administrator, it's really, really critical that you have a successful, strong background as an educator in the classroom level, because the magic that happens in schools happens between teachers and students in the classroom. So to be an effective administrator, you need to be able to have that well-rounded knowledge of what teaching and learning is all about in a school.
Yeah. And then as a fun fact, what was your first job?
Well, this is kind of strange first job, I guess. I served as when I was a sophomore in high school, I served as a track coach, an assistant track coach for grades, you won't believe it, first grade through high school. So I had the privilege of working with about 300 kids, working in a summer program for track and field.
Awesome. Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Dr.
Thank
Shawnee.
you. It was a pleasure. Thanks.
Okay, hello,
Hi.
I'm Vanessa Tapia.
Hi, nice to
And
meet
this
you.
is Gabe Medina, and he's manager for Plaza Medical Center. Will you tell us a little bit about your job and what you do?
I am the center manager at Plaza Medical Resources. Like you said, I oversee operations and sales here at the office. We do medical equipment, so we help people with oxygen, CPAPs, a lot of medical equipment. So that's basically what we do here.
Okay. How long have you been with the company?
About 4 years, so it'll be 4 years in October.
What's the one thing that most surprised you about the company when you started?
How involved we were in patient care. We do a lot of things with our patients, make sure they're doing well at home, make sure they're getting better, and see on things that we can do to help them out on a day-to-day basis. So that really was a big deal for us, and this really is what we do on a daily basis.
That's great. And what are some things you look at for a potential employer?
We're looking at people who are committed, people who are can be reliable, people that are going to show up and go to work every day, people that want to learn and are open to the things that we're going to teach them and the things they need to do to be successful on a day-to-day basis.
Are students typically career ready when they come to you for employment?
Sometimes, a lot of them we want to mold them, and we want them to be open to learning and want them to be, we want to trust them with our patients and with our information. So we want to make sure that they are willing to come and learn and willing to do the things they need that are helpful for them to advance and get ready for the next position.
What are the characteristics of your most successful employers?
They are reliable, they are hard workers, and they really follow the processes that we have in place to make sure that they can do their job to the best of their ability.
Okay. Are graduate degrees important to advancing within your organization?
Yeah.
And if so, which ones?
Yes, we have a lot of people who have masters in business administration, masters in healthcare administration, so things like that are really important, like when we start looking at moving on in our company.
And what kind of entry-level positions or internships exist within your organization?
We don't do a lot of internships, but we do have a lot of entry-level positions. We have customer service representatives and we have service representatives, and they're the ones who answer the phones, and they're the ones who also that deliver the equipment to the patient. So they're the ones who are really, really involved on patient care on day to day.
Well, Well, thank you, Gabe Medina.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Kylie Cameron, and I'm here with Dr. Ziegler, who works for the Shawnee Mission School District. Can you tell us a little bit about your job and what you do for the district, and also how long you've been here?
This is my second year in the Shawnee Mission School District, and my role is Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. So I work with the curriculum and assessment teams, and we are responsible for working with teachers and making sure that we have a strong curriculum in place and resources to support learning and the teaching that happens in all of our schools.
Awesome. And then what's one thing that surprised you most about this company when you started working with them?
When I started working with Shawnee Mission, I think one of the biggest surprises or ahas that I had, or maybe most excitement, that'd be a great way to phrase it. The biggest excitement I had about the district is just so many resources and possibilities for doing amazing things for students and supporting our community. We have a great business partnership and possibilities for even more that provide a lot of opportunities for the future for our students in our high school programs, as well as middle school and elementary learners. And that could look like expanded internships so that students can get out and learn more about our business community and those skills that they're looking for in the workplace.
Awesome. And then what does it mean to you to be college and career ready?
To me, college and career ready is a really broad definition, but basically determining what you as a student want to do after you leave the high schools in Shawnee Mission, and knowing that whether it's college bound or whether you're looking for that first job that you want to love, that you have the skills necessary to make you successful in wherever you want to go. So that might mean knowing and doing well in content classes that will stair-step you into a college experience, or if you're going to the workplace, understanding some of the soft skills that employers might want, and that's kind of a term that you might hear from them, and that includes being able to be a strong communicator, a collaborator, having flexibility, being a good problem solver. All those fit into being college and career ready.
Awesome. And then what do you have to do in order to be college and career ready?
What do you have to do? I think you have to be goal-oriented. I think you have to identify what it is that you want to do in your world, in your life, when you leave the halls of Shawnee Mission North, or West, or Northwest, or East, or South, and know that you have set those goals and you have taken the steps to move yourself forward to those goals. Taking a diverse experience of courses so that you have a broad view of all different areas. And then maybe even doing some research, going out and learning about the possibilities, whether it is you're interested in being an engineer, or maybe you want to work in a medical health environment, and knowing what it's going to take to make you be successful so that you have kind of a roadmap to your future.
Awesome. And then let's see, what characteristics are with your most successful employees?
Characteristics include thinking and being flexible. No 2 days are going to be exactly the same, and that goes outside of our environment here in the Shawnee Mission School District with some of the tasks that we face, challenges at times, but having flexibility and being able to think past maybe a scenario and figure out the best course. There's not always going to be a textbook that tells you how to do that.
Definitely,
Knowing how to be resourceful and seeking out information where maybe it may not always be readily accessible and you have to know how to find the answer. Those are two key skills.
Awesome. And then are graduate degrees important to advancing within the district, or?
Absolutely. To work in the field of education, we have to value education. So absolutely. In my own experience, I finished a bachelor's in biology. And at that point, that was really where my interest was, and I loved the sciences. I knew I wanted to teach. So I went on and I got a master's degree in curriculum and instruction and got my teaching certificate through a graduate program. And then I went on and got a PhD in special education and technologies. And I still felt like there was more that I needed to learn, and went back about 3 years ago and got another master's degree in school leadership. And I can't say that I'm finished yet.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. And then, are there any kind of entry-level positions or internships, I guess, within these, within the district, or any other districts around here?
I think in terms of school districts, a lot will want some educational background, but certainly there are opportunities to work as a teacher's aide or a para-educator, but with increasing demands in education, even our aide and para-educator positions are needing to have some type of continuing education along with them to remain in those roles. And those are some parameters that are put out by our state. So that those have to be followed. But there certainly are possibilities, and we do see a lot of people that think they might want to go into teaching, start in those types of roles and working with students. It allows them to continue on their education and help support them in getting a teaching license so that they can be a classroom teacher and then move on up through whatever positions they are interested in.
What are some things that businesses have told you that you've been, or that they've been looking for in students when they come in for, interviews and jobs and whatnot?
I'm glad you asked me that question, because one of the things I love about my job is I get to go out and ask questions and interact with people that are in the workforce that will be hiring you as one of our graduates down the road. And one of the things that I hear is employers in the metro area, they feel like in terms of content-specific skills, they can teach you what it is they need you to know around those. But some of those soft skills that we talked about, being able to be a strong communicator, a collaborator, being a creative thinker, which kind of gets back to having that flexibility as well. Grit, being able to stick with a problem and see it through and not give up on it. And also just be a great employee, coming to work on time, being responsible and respectful to the employer. Those are the key things that they really are looking for.
Great. And then as a fun fact for everyone watching, what was your first job?
My first job was working at a vet hospital, and I helped clean in the evenings. And so it was a very dirty job to start with, but what I also got to do was help with some of the on-call work that the veterinarians did when they had to see emergency patients and animals in the evenings. So it was a great learning experience.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Ziegler.
Thank you, Kylie.